going to talk just a bit about Entrepreneur Society first before I get to it. Entrepreneur Society, we are a student-led organization based in Egypt, in the American University of Cairo. We host a lot of different entrepreneurship-related events, and basically what we do is we help people take their ideas and make businesses so that they can make money out of it. And the main reason that that we're participating with Tangothon in this prestigious event is that we want to teach all of you how you can take your amazing ideas and to make an actual business out of it. And personally, I started this whole business idea to startup phase when I was about 14 years old. And I did pretty okay. So I just want to let all of you know that there is no actual age for starting your own thing. You can all start at any time, and that's the joy of entrepreneurship. It's not something that you study, it's something that you do. So without further ado, I'm going to start off with what is entrepreneurship? And I want you guys to answer. So does anyone have any ideas? I'm gonna need some interaction here, guys. Anyone heard about the word entrepreneurship?
Yeah, Abdullah, you can just check at the chat. So there are a few
Yeah, some
people.
of them are answering in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't see the chats. So Rishabh, if you could tell me what people are saying in chats.
Okay, so one person told it's selling an idea, another person told it's new business ideas. Then a few people are telling it's business, and a few people told that it's starting up your business, selling new ideas. Yeah, basically,
I like that. Okay.
entrepreneurship
Sir,
is
may
So,
I tell?
business. Okay.
so most of you guys are saying business, 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 and I'm hearing the word business a lot. But actually, there's one key difference between. There's a mosquito that's bothering me like crazy right now. There's one key difference between entrepreneurship and business, and it can be summed up in this very stupid picture. While a businessman is more profit oriented, where you'll take a watermelon, if you bought it for $1, you're gonna sell it for 150. Have you guys ever done this before, where you're just trying to resell something that you bought for more of a price so you can make a profit? Anyway, so that would be considered as business. But if you take something, if you're an entrepreneur, you would think of new ways, and the key is innovation. You would think of new ways to sell something more. And while entrepreneurship might not always make sense at first to people, when you convince them to buy an idea, you can make a bigger profit. So instead of making about 50 cents per watermelon, you can make up to $5 per watermelon. So the profit's $4. And that's the whole key here. You want to make more money, but you also want to do something that's new. So this is where I want to get to. What makes an idea good in a sort of way? First of all, it needs to solve a problem. And I want you guys to remember these key aspects. It needs to solve a problem. It needs to meet a desire. And after meeting this desire, it needs to be very realistic. Of course, everyone wants to get very creative, but at the end of the day, in entrepreneurship, it's not exactly research and science as much as it's you want to do something that you can make so that you can sell it. I know a lot of you are writing up in the chat, so I'm just going to try to pop up the chat, or I don't think I can do that right now. No, I can. All right. Yeah, there we go. And the last part of it is that it needs to be creative. Because if you don't have a very creative idea, then probably someone else has thought of it. And it happens a lot, by the way, where you come up with this amazing idea and you're like, it was going to change the world. And then you Google it and you're like, oh, there's someone in San Francisco that's already doing it. And Rishab's smiling because we got into that situation before.
So many.
Exactly. So that's why you need to be creative. Actually, in my opinion, I think that you guys heard of patents and all of that? All right. So basically,
Yep.
for those of you who don't know, a patent is something that protects your idea from being stolen. But there are so many problems with patents. In my opinion, I think the best way to protect your idea is to basically be as creative as possible so that no one else can think of it. If you're so creative and no one else can think of it, you're kind of protecting yourself, because no one else is going to be like, oh, that's how you do it. No, they'll just be like, wow. So all of this goes under the term ideation, which is generation of ideas. But the most important aspect of all of this is innovation. And that's what I'm going to be talking about first. Now, what is innovation? Innovation, Jamie Nolder, he's a prominent individual in the entrepreneurial scene. He stated that innovation is change that unlocks new value. Now, what does that mean? Change that unlocks new value. It needs to be different, but it also needs to provide a value. Now, a value is basically a service. I want this product or application or whatever you got your ideas are. I want it to help me in life. If you tell me that this phone, let's say I have a phone. So right now I have a phone. Apple keeps adding cameras to the back of the phone. This is an 8, so I don't have the third camera. But this has 2 cameras. Sure, the second camera can do something. Now they have a third camera in the 11. There are rumors that they're going to have a fourth camera in the 12. Now, after a certain point, I'm going to be like, okay, what am I going to do with the fourth camera? Okay, sure, the third camera can make a black background, but what does the fourth camera do? At some point, it's change, it's new, it's innovative. It might do something for photographers, but for a user like me, I'm not really going to do much. So is there a point? No, it doesn't create value. Therefore, it's not innovative. And that's what we're going to talk about. Types of it. Examples of innovation, first of all. So, does anyone know what this is?
Mac, the original.
It's Mac. It's the first Macintosh.
Mac.
So on left, it was the first home-use computer that was invented by Steve Jobs, and on the right is our Macs that are present today. And you see the innovation. It's very obvious what changed, and it's very obvious that it had value. Now, the second example is Uber. Uber took something that existed, taxis, and they made a change where you can order it through an app and track it, and you can get better cars. And it unlocked new value that was more convenient, and it was safe. It was as simple as that. And final thing, in my opinion, is Google Maps. Maps existed, digital maps existed, but I don't want to go head over heels trying to figure out what the shortest route is. I want an app to tell me, oh, there's traffic here, just go left. So that's an example of innovation. Not only did it change something, but it also created a value that benefits me as a consumer. Now that's innovation. So that's what they all have in common. They have change and they have value. Now I'm going to give you some examples, and I want you guys, and I'm sorry if you guys want to use chats, but try to use your mics more so I can hear you, because I can't see chat very much. But tell me, what is this?
A sweater for an apple.
A sweater for an apple.
It is a coat for an apple?
Yes, it's a coat for an apple. It's change. It's innovative, right?
But it's
Is
not
it?
useful.
Yes. But it's not useful.
It's not useful. What am I gonna do with a coat for an apple? Apple's gonna rot in like about 5 days anyways. You can take a pretty picture, but after that, am I gonna get anything out of it? So it's not innovation. It's just change. I can always make change. Second example, for all of the engineering prospects here, this is going to piss you off. This is a hammer with a wire. Is it innovative?
I mean, it's innovative, but then the main point of
But
an
not
hammer is,
useful.
yeah, the main point is to take it
Yes.
around. You can't actually have it.
There is no
It's an
use of
electric
it.
hammer. It's an electric hammer.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make sense. It's change. It's new. But it's not innovative because it doesn't offer value. And my personal favorite. What is this?
Dual toilets.
Dual toilets. It's innovative. Does it offer you value? Would anyone use this with their friends?
No, but no one will be
No,
comfortable
never.
to use it.
No, but innovative
Exactly.
means change will happen, but the change will have a value, right? But in this change, the change is there, but it makes no sense.
Thank you,
It doesn't
sir.
give any.
Exactly. Now, innovative. Guys, who's drawing?
Okay, let me
All
see.
right.
Enable show names of annotators.
Oh, that's nice. So I can catch you in the act.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm the
public
Stop
best at
annotation
like
for a while,
crashing
right?
classes, so I know.
God damn it. Guys, quit
Guys,
it.
it'll be so good if we can stop doing this.
Rajab, can we get the
Rishabh, could you
orange
try
out
just
of my face?
stopping the annotation? You could just block it, I guess.
Can I do that? I don't think I can. Oh, there we go.
Probably Rishabh is the host. So
No,
Oh my god.
oh wow, okay. Okay, guys, this is like not cool. It's gonna waste everyone's time.
yeah, please
Yeah.
don't.
So please don't do that. Whoever's doing it, it's not showing me the option of being able to show the annotators' names anyway. Also, I'd have done that by now.
Sharing the
All right.
screen can do it.
Is that an ask?
Abdullah, see if you can do that.
There,
I'm
there'll
just
be
gonna
like
stop
more options.
presentation whatsoever.
Like while you're sharing, it's more options, and also just take
Rishabh, just make me
responsibility
host.
yourselves. Okay, let's do that then.
No, I can't remove annotating. Oh my god.
Abdullah, could you do one thing? Can you see
There
there's
we
like a
go.
more option at the top?
Disable attendee annotation. There you go.
Yeah, that is there.
Yeah,
Just click on the three buttons that you can see.
But
and
how do I remove the existing one?
You can clear all annotations.
No, but that will take time.
No, there's a button for clear
It's done.
participants
Nobody can
annotation.
draw. Nobody can do it now.
Alright. So
Yeah, I
how
guess.
about we get back to this?
Yeah,
Sound
alright.
good?
Just continue. I
Alright.
hope no one does that again.
Anyways, so an innovative idea must be one that solves a problem, or else it's nothing more than useless thoughts. And a sweater on an apple, there's not much to it. But other than that, you can create innovative ideas that do offer value, and that's the whole key. I'm gonna get into the types of innovation. So this is a small skit series that I really like, and we were just talking about this. Now, incremental innovation is just adding another feature. We used to have shavers with one blade. Then there were two. There was Jewel Blade by Gillette. Then there was Tri-Blade by Gillette. Now they have four. What's the fourth blade gonna do on my face? So incremental innovation is just adding on to a feature until it becomes kind of pointless. But it does have benefits. You can do incremental innovation to the point where it's beneficial. So something like the second camera on phones or the third camera, yeah, they have benefit. But the fourth camera, we're not so sure. Anyways, second type of innovation, and you might not think this is innovation, but it actually is, and I'll explain why, which is copycat, where you do the exact same product. Now, I'm not sure, you guys are mostly based internationally, but let's say there's a franchise outside of your country, a restaurant. If you bring it to your country and you start selling, that is innovation. Because innovation is localized, it's not international. If something exists abroad but is not available in your immediate vicinity and you bring it, that's innovation because you had new change, even though it was copied, but it created a value. Then there's a watered down concept, and me and Rishabh really need to learn from this one. But basically, the watered down concept is that when you have a product that's way too complicated, you just need to simplify it. Sometimes consumers, they just get overwhelmed with all features. And you've all seen those products with billion features. No. Anyways, with a billion features, and it's just way too much, and people just don't buy it in the end because they don't understand what it does. Then there's the fad. By the way, gluten-free toilet paper was invented and it created sales because people didn't want gluten in their households. What's gluten? Do I have any biology people here? What's gluten?
Gluten is a type of protein that is present in grains.
Exactly. It's everywhere. Why would you not want gluten? Unless you're allergic to gluten, you can eat gluten. It's good for you. But every white girl in San Francisco wants a gluten-free chocolate bar. And companies are just making more money by calling their stuff gluten-free, even though it never had gluten in the first place. So that's what we call a fad. Now there's the opposite of watered down, which is overcomplicated. Let's just keep adding more features. Just add different types of features. More features here, more features here. And it could be beneficial to make things overcomplicated because it makes it seem like a superior product, but eventually it's like, bro, what?
Question?
Anyways, now the most important type of innovation is a breakthrough feature, which is something that no one's ever thought of. And actually, it's something that people will doubt. For breakthrough features, we have a few examples, but starting with the touchscreen, the smartphone. You can have a laptop in your hand. That doesn't make sense. You have a whole computer. Computers are a full set. Now it's the palm of your hands. You can call anyone in the world right now, like that. So that's breakthrough features. That's breakthrough innovation. And if you can make a breakthrough idea, I can almost guarantee that you're going to be a very happy person in your life because you're going to make a lot of money. So innovation, and this is the main thing I want you guys to leave, is that innovation is the key to entrepreneurship. It's the main driver of innovative ideas. It's the main purpose of entrepreneurship, where it's just creating an idea that solves a major problem, and if possible, it creates a successful startup. Now, how do you go from that to that? We're going to talk a bit about it. I want to ask you guys if you have any questions so far, and I'm gonna open the chat just so you guys can ask a few questions.
Go ahead
No
and
questions so
unmute
far?
yourselves and ask if you'll have any
Yeah,
questions.
I have the chat
Brother,
open as
so
well, so you guys
basically,
can talk.
if you make things more efficient, that serves the purpose, I guess.
Yeah.
I have a question. What if we make something that actually exists, but actually put our own special spin on it?
What do you mean? Can you elaborate on that?
Like, for example, we do make something which does exist, but we do add something special in it that makes it much more useful than the one that we referenced on.
All right, so that's also a type of innovation. Now, what you call that, it goes under incremental innovation, which is you take something and you add to it. Get me? So that can go under incremental innovation. Actually, if you're interested, that's what we call a USP in entrepreneurship, which is a unique selling point. So when you're going to the store, let's say you're going to the store, why do you buy one product over the other? Because one product has a USP, which is, oh, we're the exact same as the other product, except we have this. And that's what makes you sell. So actually, USPs are the most important part of sales and marketing in general. And we can teach you about that in another event, but I'll tell you guys about that later. So any other questions? I'm not seeing much from the chat.
What was the full form for USP?
Sorry?
The full form for the USP you were saying?
I can't hear you. Sorry.
You just mentioned.
But he just wants to know the full form of USP, so unique.
Yeah, that's unique selling point.
Oh, unique selling point.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to get back to the conversation if you guys have no questions. All right, so, but we're talking about all of this innovation, idea generation, all of that, and unique selling point right now. By the end of the day, what is entrepreneurship? You guys gave me a lot of questions at the beginning, and most of us said business and most of us said startup. But in my personal opinion, entrepreneurship is not even related to that. Entrepreneurship is a way of thinking. It's a mindset. You can be an entrepreneur without a startup. And you can be a business owner without being an entrepreneur. So that's why it's a way of thinking. And it covers 3 major aspects. The first aspect is opportunity. You need to be opportunity seeking. You need to be able to spot hidden opportunities. And opportunities can come in like either gaps in the market, possible solutions to a problem, or like you said, improvements to existing products or services. It's all about opportunities. It's all about spotting a problem, because not a lot of people can see a problem. Sometimes you see these new products that solve a problem we didn't even know we had. Like, I'll take, for example, in my personal opinion, the biggest fad that ever happened in history, the fidget spinner. None of us knew we needed the fidget spinner. Nobody. And then all of a sudden you go to school and, oh my God, every single individual has a fidget spinner. Why? They saw a gap. They saw that people like to do things with their hands. And they're like, what if we do the stupid spring that spins and you just flip it with your finger continuously? And they sold about $30 billion worth of fidget spinners in 1 year. Imagine that. Something this stupid, $30 billion. That's a full economy right there. So it's all about spotting gaps. It's all about spotting opportunity and solving problems that people don't even know they have. Because the less obvious problems are the ones that make the most money. Second aspect of entrepreneurship is an innovative ideology. I just spent about 20 minutes talking about innovation. So, innovation is the act of creating something new that offers value, right? Right. So a business mindset, like we talked about the watermelon, it focuses on things that have been tested and that succeeded. The entrepreneur's path often paves the way for something new. They're doing something that no one's ever done before, and there's no way of knowing right away if it's going to succeed or not. And that's the scary part about entrepreneurship. It's risky. You don't know whether what you're doing is going to work out or not. That's why innovation kind of helps guarantee your path. But it's key to an entrepreneur's success that what you're doing, not only is it unique, but it does offer value. And the more innovative it is, the more likely you are to succeed. And the last thing I want to talk about is value. You need to create value. So the main purpose of a startup is to create value, and the value lies within the product or service created. Essentially, it just solves a problem. So by solving a problem, you're creating value, and that goes back to innovation as well. So when you combine these 3 together, you make an entrepreneur, and it's as simple as that. But how do you go from an entrepreneur to a startup? How do people just adopt these 3 ideologies and then suddenly they're multimillionaires sitting in their office of their multi-million-dollar company, and they're just changing the world? Like, how does someone like Elon Musk, of course all of you have heard of Elon Musk. Elon Musk started off in his office desk as a college graduate. He wasn't doing much, he was just playing around with his computer. Now Elon Musk is one of the most influential people in the world. How do you go from that to that? And actually, what happens here is called design thinking. Now, has anyone heard of design thinking before? Anyone?
Yeah.
You guys can speak up. All right, I'm gonna close and watch the chat a bit. Yes, yes. All right. So basically, what design thinking is, it's this nice little graph here. But notice how the arrows are going back and forth, and I want you to just focus on that. It's a process of creating an idea, of having an idea. How do you get an idea in the first place? Because creativity isn't something that you're just born with. Creativity is a way of thinking. So how do you go from a creative idea and just bounce it around until you have a business? It's in these 6 steps. And again, they're not going to be called steps, but I'll elaborate more on that. And it's separated into 3 different phases, which is understanding, exploring, and materializing. Now, I want to introduce you guys to Arne van Oostrom. Arne van Oostrom, he's a Swedish entrepreneur, and he is the one who revolutionized the way we think about design thinking. So he said 2 statements that I want us to all just leave with when we're considering what design thinking is. And the first statement is that design thinking is a mindset, not a toolkit or a series of steps. Now, if we go back, it doesn't look like steps. It looks like a cycle. You keep bouncing back and forth into each step. And as you can see, it's just moving around. So it's not necessarily that phase 1, we're going to emphasize, phase 2, we're going to define, then we're ideate. It's that you emphasize and you might not be able to do it. You define and then you just go back to emphasize. Then you ideate, then you go back to define, and then you prototype. And after the prototype, it might not work out whatsoever, so you go back to emphasize. You get back to prototyping, you test, it fails, you go back to prototype. Then you go back to testing. Then you go to implementation. And even after implementation, you might just have messed up somewhere and need to go back to emphasizing. So I want you guys to think of it as an ongoing process, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And actually, the more time you spend back and forth, the better your idea is going to be overall in the future. And that's a key part of it. How well do you do this process? So Arne van Oostrom, he said that design thinking is a mindset, not a toolkit, or series of steps. And the second thing is that design thinking is the glue between all disciplines, which is why Rishab invited me over here today to talk about entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship isn't business. Entrepreneurship is how do you combine every field together to make a startup. And a startup is an organization. Think of it as a system of different gears and places. Do I have anyone who wants to study engineering here? Or I still can't see you, but if you think of it as a machine, you have all these gears that are just aligning together and they're just making one big system, one strong system that works and moves forward. So let's start it phase by phase. We're going to start with the understanding phase. What is understanding? It starts with emphasizing. Lol, very funny, but no. You start with emphasizing. And after, what you do in emphasizing is you put yourself in your customer segment's shoes. You start to try to understand, okay, what problems are they going through? You need to also get an overall image of your customer's life, because you can't be like, someone who's sick has a problem and you can't go for an obvious problem. You just need to live their experience completely. And then you find that small problem that you can solve easily. And those gaps are the ones that make money. So you need to go into their lifestyle, their activities, their opinions, but most importantly, you need to understand their struggles. Now, struggles brings us to our second point, which is defining. After identifying their struggles, you need to define their problems. Now, does anyone know the difference between a struggle and a problem?
A struggle is when you have like a small gap in with your business and you can fix it easily. The problem is something that cannot be fixed easily.
Okay. Now, how about we try to apply that to an individual? What's the difference between a struggle in my life and a problem in my life?
Yeah, also.
So if you think of it this way, a struggle is something that I can't do. Let's say I can't jump rope. Now the problem out of that is I can't exercise. It's the resultant, cause and effect kind of thing. So after identifying the struggles, what's the problem that's created? Because you're going to be solving the problem, not removing the struggle. So it's simple to define problems, but it requires in-depth analysis and insight just so you make sure you're identifying the right problem. And the more insight and thought you give to the problem, the more complex and hidden problems you find. And those complex and hidden problems are, oh my God. Sorry guys, let's just get through this. The more you give them thought, the more ideas you find and more complex ideas you find. And those hidden problems are the ingenious ideas. They result in ingenious ideas. Because when you solve a problem that everyone has but no one actually thought they had, and they're like, oh, I never knew I needed this before, but now I can't live without it. Kind of like, how many of you have smartphones?
Almost everyone.
Almost everyone. Can you get rid of
has
smartphone?
smartphones.
If I tell you to just get rid of it, would you be fine?
Nope.
No.
No. 20 years ago, no one thought they needed something like that. They barely needed computers. So that's why the hidden problems that no one thinks they have are the ingenious ideas. Now, after understanding, I keep doing that and it's very stupid of me. Sorry, guys. After understanding, you need to start exploring. Now, since I know the problem, I need to start solving them. So I need to ideate, which is innovation, which is everything we've talked about. You start brainstorming solutions. You take into consideration different aspects of the product. And the best solutions often use the least amount of resources while creating substantially large outputs. So if I tell you, I need a device that takes me from point A to point B in the most efficient manner, someone will probably tell me you need to buy a jet. And you're going to get a jet and it's going to be high tech and it's going to get all of these features. I'm going to be like, bro, I'm going to buy a bike. Now they serve the same purpose, but the jet's overly complicated and I don't want all of that. I want less resources and it does the same job, even if it does it like 5 seconds slower. But it's more convenient. So just use the least amount of resources. Don't be overly complicated, but also make sure that you're getting the most out of it. And in my opinion, this is my tip for the day, keep it simple, stupid. The simpler the idea, the stupider the idea, the better and easier to implement it is. Because it might look nice on paper, but once you start trying to build it and once you start trying to sell it, it gets very difficult. After that, you prototype and you just find the simplest way to deliver the same value. And we call that your minimum viable product or your MVP. So an MVP isn't just taking away features, an MVP is doing the same thing in a simpler way. So rather than just taking away the truck itself and leaving 2 wheels, no, you're supposed to find simpler solutions. So that's what an MVP is. Is anyone still confused about MVP? Because I know it can be a bit weird. I'll try to give you guys. Yeah, I'll try to give you guys another example as well. So something like.
What is the full
phone.
form of MPV?
Minimum viable product. I'll try to get it again. Minimum viable product. So, minimum viable product. Let's say you have a phone. We need to first identify the purpose. So the purpose of a phone is to talk to someone else that's a bit far. Now, the most complicated final product would be the smartphone. But to make an MVP, you need to find something simpler. Something like the 2 cans and a string. It does serve the same purpose, so it does act as an MVP. The purpose of the MVP is to just show what it does, so that when your customers are trying to see if they're interested or not, they can be like, oh, I like the concept, but I wish it was just a bit better. So the just a bit better means that they would buy it if it was better. And that's why you need to improve it to your final design. You're just testing the concept, not the actual product. And that's the problem that a lot of people face. The final phase of design thinking is materializing. You have an idea, you know what your prototype is going to look like, or your MVP. Now you need to make it. So the first thing, you test out your idea in the market and you see feedback. And it's very important to listen to feedback. You identify the best or most accurate way of testing. A lot of the time, people, when they're testing products, they go to their friends. Now, this personally is the number one mistake. You never go to your friends, because your friends are going, damn, bro, that's so cool. You should do that. Definitely. And then you start making it and you go broke. Never go to your friends. Go to people that are going to criticize it. Go to people that are going to destroy your idea. Because if you can make them like it, then you have already made a business. So the target market and intended purpose of use, you need to analyze your feedback very carefully, and this will show you what you need to change in your idea. Most important thing is, don't be stubborn. You need to listen and learn. A lot of people, while they're doing this entire phase, they start falling in love with their idea, that they're no longer open to suggestions. And that's when you fail. You need to start being very critical of your idea. You need to just find all the flaws in it, because people will find the flaws in it. So you need to make sure that there are very little, and people will find it very difficult to find them. Final thing is implement. I'm pretty sure you guys know what implementing is. You just do it. Now, this whole design thinking thing can also be summed up in the build, measure, learn loop. And the build, measure, learn loop, I like it more than the first design thinking model, because it shows you that it's an ongoing process. You make ideas, you build the ideas, you have a product. You measure how much people like it, you get data, you learn from the data, and the data makes you make new ideas. You can always release a product and you can improve upon it. And that's something that needs to be very important to you, that a startup needs to, it's not that once you've made the product, you have a startup. No, you need to keep making new ideas, because the more ideas you have, the better you are at competing.
Hello?
Again, this goes back to your USP.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Sir, where does this build, measure, learn loop start?
It starts at ideas. So it starts at the ideas and it just keeps
Sir?
going. Yes.
Can you show the last slide?
This one?
Yes.
All right. So which part of the last slide? Hello?
So
Yes,
I
sir.
have a question.
Yes.
So you told we should go to critics and just listen to their statements. But when we are going to implement a new idea, that we are going to come against a lot of naysayers. Do we really need to care about our critics?
I'll tell you,
So,
it's the whole thing about, once you implement, you need to start listening to people that you're going to sell to. Because if I'm going to make a groundbreaking idea and my customers don't understand it, then no one's going to buy it, even if it is groundbreaking. So an example of this would be, actually, I'll tell you something that me and Rishabh kind of faced, is that we created this headset that can measure your focus and all of that. And it's called ACEs. Now, when we started off ACEs, we started off with a lot of different services and products and concepts and all of that. And when we started talking to people, they're like, what does it do? I'm like, it measures the alpha waves in your brain and all of that, and beta waves, and it tells you your beta alpha ratios, and then it tells you how focused you are in your brain, neural brain activity and all of that. And then they just didn't care. It was a groundbreaking idea, but they just didn't care about all of that. So what we started doing is that we started simplifying it. We needed to explain it in different ways. We needed to change our product so that it's more understandable. It's more, not as creative, but it's more sellable. So yes, the ideas are important because it can be an innovative idea, and it happens a lot that you have this groundbreaking idea that no one's ever thought of and it can help society. But if no one understands it, and that's what marketing is, if no one understands it, no one's going to buy it. It's not that if you have a good idea, you're going to sell. No, it's about implementation. Clear on that?
Yes, okay.
Okay. So I think I've given you guys enough. So let's start with a bit of questions, and then let's give you guys a quick break.
Yeah, let's do that. Then let's take questions now for the next few minutes, and then we're gonna take a break for half an hour from 12 to 12:30. Anyways, and before we continue, So, what do you say, Abdullah? We take a few questions now.
Yeah, let's take a few questions. What's up, guys?
Okay.
Yes? You guys can use the chat, by the way. I can see the chat now.
Correction. After the question answers, we'll take a break and continue around 1:30.
What is the meaning of put yourself in your customer's shoes? What does it mean?
All right, so putting yourself in your customer's shoes, it's an expression where you just need to kind of understand how they live. So just imagine what their life is like. Now, me and you, we live in different countries. But if I was to put myself in your shoes, I need to understand, okay, so what do you do in the morning? Once you wake up, you're doing this. You go to school. Now, what do you do in school? You're bored in your classes. You don't do anything. Or maybe you're just very active and you're looking forward to playing football in the field with your friends. Then you go back from school. Do you sleep or do you eat or do you do your homework? Or do you just do nothing and get on your PlayStation or get on anything? I need to understand what your day looks like so I can start understanding, okay, so once he goes to school, he's just really bored. How can we fix that? Okay, so he's really bored. His struggles are being bored in school, but he also needs to focus. Now, how can we do something that makes him focus, but without him being completely bored? Okay, so that's what putting yourself in your shoes is just understanding what your life is like.
So
Get
you're
me?
saying like putting yourself in the customer's shoe means like we should find the difficulties of your customer's life.
Yes. I'll tell you something that I really liked. There's this there's this company, and you guys might have heard about them. They're called McDonald's. And how McDonald's used to do their research on how they can improve their customers' overall experience is that the executives of McDonald's would just wear normal clothing so that no one would know that they're the executives. And this includes the president of McDonald's. And they go and they're like, let's just go to a branch of McDonald's and let's go buy a burger. And then they went in and then they waited in line and they waited in line. Then they ordered a milkshake and a burger and some fries. And then they're like, okay, so what are the problems? First problem is I waited way too long in line. Second problem, I couldn't find a seat. Third problem, I couldn't hear my name when it was being called. So what are we going to do? Okay, we're going to make sure that we have a process to make food quicker. We're going to put up a screen with numbers so that you know when your order is ready, rather than someone yelling, number 436, and you just have to just be awake enough to make sure that your name gets called. And we're going to make a location where you can sit that's not for people that are eating, but just exclusively for people that are waiting for their food. And they fixed all of these by putting themselves in literally being their own customers.
So my father works there. My father works at McDonald's. Yeah, he's the supply chain director.
Really? That's nice.
Yeah. That's true. Whatever you told, it's true actually.
They're actually one of the more innovative companies when it comes to understanding what their customers want.
Yeah, and I think there's the most misunderstood yet most innovative business model as well. You know how they make money. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and there was this entire chapter about McDonald's, about how you think they're a fast food company, but they're actually a
Real
real
estate
estate
business.
business. Yeah, it's like wow.
Actually, Nikhil is asking a question in the chat box. He's asking, will we get copyrights for our ideas when we implement it? So yeah.
All right. So here's the thing about copyrights. Shall we hear? Guys, copyrights, like I mentioned, will never protect your idea. And it's just annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, but you can protect it to a limit if you're having a legal support or something, yeah.
I'll tell you what the problem with copyrights is, and it comes down to the law mainly, which is basically once you make a copyright and you have the, let's say I made a phone, and you have the design for the phone. Now, what I can do if I want to copy your product is I'm gonna make the phone just a bit wider. If I make it 1 millimeter wider, then the copyright no longer applies.
Yeah.
And we've seen this when my favorite example is when the iPhone X came out. Literally, about 1 month later, the same exact phone came out, but from Huawei. It was the same design. But what Huawei did was that to make sure that they avoided the patent and the copyright, they shifted the two cameras 0.1 millimeters to the left. And when they shifted the two cameras 0.1 millimeters to the left, it no longer was protected by copyright. So actually, the best way to protect your ideas is to make sure you're always creative. How is Apple still on top, even though it makes less capable phones than Samsung? And it comes down to their creativity. They make better softwares. They make more convenient softwares. They're user-friendly, and they're not even selling a phone. They're selling an idea. They're selling it. If you have an iPhone, you have an iPhone. They're selling the concept of owning an iPhone rather than the actual phone. So I'll give you guys a quick tip on marketing. The iPod, when it came out, remember the iPod with the whole ring and you used to spin with it and all of that? How were they marketing their product? Did they say it has 50, I don't even remember the number, I think it was around 20 gigabytes. Did they say it has like 10 gigabytes of storage? No, no one knew what gigabytes were. No one cared. They said it's 1,000 songs in your pocket. And the concept of having 1,000 songs in your pocket instead of just having the Walkman and putting in a disc or putting in a CD every time, just have 1,000 full songs. That's innovation. If they would have advertised it has 10 gigabytes of storage.
So you were telling about iTunes.
Yeah, you'd be like, what's a gigabyte? How many songs can I put in a gigabyte? And then you'd have to start Googling stuff and researching, and then
approximately like 70, 80 songs.
I don't even know, man. I really don't know. I still don't know to this day. What does a gigabyte do?
1 GB can store more than 70.
1 gigabyte can store 1,000 megabytes. Thank you. What do I do with that information? I want to know if the iPod is just for listening to songs. I want to know how many songs I can put in. 1,000 songs in your pocket. Damn, I want that. 10 gigabytes. No, what's that? I don't care. And it goes back to my point of keep it simple, stupid, bro. If you go and let's say you advertise your product with an AR feature that enables you to envision it. Bro, what? What are you saying? No, I don't want an AR feature. I'm going to stop sharing screen so I can see you guys. I don't want an AR feature. I want to know, what does it do? It'll make you feel like you're living the experience. Oh, shit. Wait. Okay, damn. I want that. And it's the same as the Oculus Rift as well. So the Oculus Rift, so the Oculus Rift, for example, They weren't advertising an AR solution or a VR solution for the PlayStation. They were advertising it, live the game. Live the game. 3 words. $600 million in sales. So it's this game of how
Could I
do
ask
you
a
make
question?
your product? Yes, go ahead, please.
Like, how does companies make logos or titles for their like business? No, entrepreneurship. Like, they make titles or logos for their company. So how does they make it? How does they get the idea or the innovation?
Okay, so that's a lot of different things. I think, Krisha, we talked about juniors yet?
No, we haven't. I plan to talk about that in the closing tomorrow.
All right, so let's talk
Yeah.
about it in the closing then later. We can. There's going to be a whole different thing, and we can talk more about entrepreneurship and all of these different things. We can teach all of you all of that.
Yeah. Okay, Abdul, I just had a quick question. In terms of obviously we'll be going over this more in the pitching thing, while you're teaching them how to prepare their pitch. But right now, from what they've learned about the design thinking process for their submissions tomorrow, what would you say? What tools would you say they employ and they utilize while brainstorming and actually finding a problem and solution?
All right. So my personal opinion on how you pitch is that you need to tell stories. It's all about telling stories. Now, when you tell a story, you get to a point where it's like, I'm interested. So if I go into, let's say I'm going to pitch an idea right now. I've created this device that can tell you how many calories you're burning in a minute. And the more you exercise, I can tell you how many calories you're burning right now, and such and such and such. And it has a wrist feature that uses ECG to understand all of that. I'm just not interested in that. But what I do have is telling stories. Now, if I tell you, have you ever wondered how well you're exercising? Personally, when I go on a run, I just want to know, am I actually doing enough, or do I need to work harder, or am I overworking myself? Now, all of us have gone through this situation, but what we need to do, we have created a device that can tell you how many calories you're burning instantaneously so you can understand how hard you're exercising. Done. You're sold. You bought it. I want that. So it's telling a story that can make people relate to it. And once you make people relate to it, you've won.
Sir, can you please repeat the last line?
Once you make people relate to a story, then you've already got them as customers. Because if they can relate to a problem you're describing, they want the product, the solution that you're selling.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So when we are when you are the product, we should make the product interesting to our customer, right? We should make the product interesting to our customer through the
Yes,
story.
exactly. Yes, exactly. That's a very interesting message you just sent, Arsh. I'm beyond.
Yeah, it's beyond words.
It's beyond words.
Yeah.
I'm truly inspired. Anyways, do you guys have any questions, or shall we take a quick break?
What type of software can we use to create a prototype?
All right, so if it's
So
an
don't worry
application,
about that. We're gonna have a special class about that. We have you having a workshop at 3, yeah?
Yeah.
3 Dubai time.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
Ari, okay. Thank God, I didn't know how to answer that question.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We have a senior designer from Zoho. As you know, it's a leading company. He's gonna teach you about design. So you don't need to
Okay,
worry.
thank you.
I should probably attend that.
Yeah, you're off the hook, Abdullah. He's going to be teaching you all how to actually make wireframes of your app and everything. It's going to be interesting too.
So yeah, we're gonna make you app developers and designers. Yep. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had an idea about the video pitch that we should submit. Like, how should it be? Like, it can it just be a recording of a Zoom meeting between our teammates, will in which we will explain it?
That's up to you. It's up to you how do you want to represent it. There are like 5%. So like there's 5% of your score goes towards how you actually present the presentation. So it's up to you to decide whatever works best for you. All right.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, let's take a break now, guys. I'm gonna mute everyone. We come back after 20 minutes. 1:30 sharp. We'll start the next session. We're gonna be
We should be
learning.
in the same meeting
Yeah, it's
right
the
now.
same link. You can stay in the same link. Honestly, I'm just gonna mute everyone and we're gonna turn off the cameras.
Okay.
One second. Adityan, are you here? Adi?
Yeah,
Excuse me.
Yeah. Could you just share the Tangleton, like share your screen and then just put up the Tangleton slide?
yeah. All right. One second.
Yeah. And if you can just share, maybe play some lounge music or something for 20 minutes.
Also, can you tell a particular time when we should join back so that we can leave the meeting and get in?
Oh, in
Yeah, can we
20
leave now?
minutes. So 1:30, 20 minutes exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, fine.
So
How about I play my Spotify playlist? It's so cool.
um okay, just make sure it is safe for work.
All right.
Very appropriate in some songs. Yeah, no, it's not Walter, it's Waldo. So he's hidden one of these slides.
Bad job. You guys can still find it.
We hid it so well that I don't think anyone knows.
Yeah. So are you hosting in YouTube right now or just recording it?
I'm just recording it.
Can you give us the slides so that we can find it?
No.
No, that's not fair.
No, that's not fair.
Can you show the slides again to find
Yeah,
Mr.
chill, buddy. Chill,
Waldo?
chill. Wait, hold on, just a minute.
So, is it the like what is his color? Is he red and white? That guy.
We can't tell all that. We
So,
can't tell all that.
what is the name of the character? Waldo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Waldo.
Waldo.
Yeah, Waldo. It's just text. It's not like I don't know.
Show us the slide.
No.
So no, this is not fair, man.
We're showing you that's fun.
We have to find
Just
his
relax.
name, or we have to find his name, or what?
You have to find the character himself.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next slide, please.
No, chill.
Show me the
Yeah.
slide.
You go
Aditya,
slow, chill, buddy.
can you go to Google and show them what Waldo looks like?
Yeah, I can
I
do
don't
that.
even
One
know
sec.
what Voldo is.
Wait,
Yeah.
why don't you Google it? Yeah, let's wait. Why don't you Google it? Yeah, let's do it.
The answer is, of course, you're confused. This is way too complicated. It doesn't make sense. The typical business plan is way too long. Sometimes it can be up to 150 pages. It just doesn't make sense to make something that long. And it's very rigid. And what we mean by rigid is that once you change something, you have to rewrite the whole business plan. It doesn't take into consideration rapid or sudden market changes, and it doesn't include an innovation plan. So for businesses, this works because they're doing the same exact thing over and over and over again. But for entrepreneurial startups, it just doesn't work, especially in early stages. And this is where we come into the 20-minute business plan. This, my friends, is what someone like me calls art. It's the BMC, or what we call business model canvas. It plans out the outline of the company. It's used as a reference for decisions, and it's used to spot flaws in the business strategy. It's very adaptable, and it makes areas affected by change clear because it's divided into 3 sections. And it's very visual as well, so it helps you in understanding the startup as a system, like I mentioned, system, rather than just independent branches in a graph. All clear?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just going to get into the things in the business model canvas, and then after that, we'll move on to pitching. The first and the most important aspect of a BMC is your value proposition. Your value proposition is the center of your company. Now, we have an idea, but is the idea the value proposition? Not necessarily, but what the idea does for people is the value proposition. So let's say I make a car. Is my value that you own a car? No, your value is that you can get to places easy. So the value proposition is just a combination between the product, the brand, but most importantly, the user experience. Any questions on that? Cool. This is how you make a value proposition. This is what we call the value proposition canvas. It's just a way to help you identify your value propositions. So I want you guys to hide the left side. So look at the customer profile. The customers have pains. They have a customer job. They want to do something. Let's say I want to go to my school. The gains of that is that I arrive. Well, actually, there are very little gains to arriving to school, but I want to get to a destination and I get to my school. So that's my gain. My pain is that I need to walk. Now we take this and we go to the other side as if it's a mirror. Now, what's the product or service? A car. What's the gain creator? It gets you there faster. And what's the pain reliever? Your feet don't hurt. Quite literally a pain. So that's the point of a value proposition canvas. It's identify a job and identify the service that can make it better. I think some of you have questions, so I'll just take a look at the chat. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about pitching at the end, but don't worry about it. All right. So that's value proposition.
Customer profile part. I didn't understand the customer profile part.
Okay. So customer needs to do a job. Let's say they need to, I don't know, they need to call someone. They need to talk to someone. The gain of that is that they can walk to someone and they can talk to them and they can have a nice conversation. The pain of that is that they're far away. So we make something that mimics the customer job. Let's say a mobile phone. A mobile phone, it helps you achieve the gains. So it helps you talk to someone anywhere. And the pain of that is that them being far away is no longer an issue. That's the pain reliever. So you identify the job, you identify the benefits and disadvantages of it, and you make a product that creates more benefits and relieves the disadvantages. Easier?
Yes, I understand.
Perfect. So after you make a product, how do you get your product to your customers, to your customer segment? And that's what we call channels. There are two types of channels. The first are company channels, and the second are partner channels. Now, let's say I own a farm. I have apples. How do I sell apples? I need to move them. So I can either buy a truck, and that would be a company channel, or I can make a partnership with a truck company to move my apples from my farm to the store. Those are two ways. Another example for a more digital age is I have a game. How can I get people to play my game? I need to make an application. An application will make it accessible. So a channel isn't necessarily transportation, but it's how you deliver it. So channels can be applications, it can be a website, it can be a store, it can be a truck, any of that. Simple enough?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now we've talked about how do you get your product to your customer segment, but now let's actually talk about your customer segment. You need to identify who these people are. Who are you selling to at the end of the day? So the customer segment is who's going to buy your product, because not the entire world is going to buy your product. You need to make your product specific for one person. If I'm selling a headset, for a gaming headset, then I'm only selling it to people that game. That's my customer segment. People that game, let's be more specific, people that game between the ages of 14 to 25. That's why my headset looks funky. And you do that. And after that, I want to volunteer. And we're not moving forward until we have a volunteer.
Right.
Any brave souls? Who's that?
Pravasi Singh.
Hello. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
How do you keep a relationship going? I got it.
But
Okay,
what if you're
does
single?
anyone know? Huh?
But what happens if you're single? I mean, if you don't have any relationships.
That's fine, but how
Doesn't
do you
need to.
maintain
It can
a
be
relationship?
any relationship. It can be with your
It can
friends
be
or
any
family.
relationship.
All right.
Feels right.
Yeah.
So since you volunteered and unmuted yourself, how do you keep a relationship going?
Understanding.
Understanding. What else?
Helping.
Helping. Huh?
Trust. Loyalty and trust.
Yeah.
Trust.
Caring.
Caring.
Keeping them
Also
happy.
make them feel like we are
Keeping them
interesting.
happy.
Cooperation.
We are interesting.
Cooperation.
I think
Communication.
he wants advice.
All right. So basically, all of these things apply to human relationships, right? Romantic relationships. In entrepreneurship, instead of a heart, we like to look at this. And it's our customer relationship model. In fact, it's the same as maintaining an actual human relationship, but it's a relationship between a customer and a company. So the first thing you need to do is that you need to align systems with goals and strategy, which is basically, what do you want out of this?
So could I
What
say
do you
something,
want out
sir?
of this? Yes, of course.
So why do we need a customer relationship?
I'll tell you. Because your customers are the people that keep your company going forward. And if you don't have customers, if your customers aren't happy, then they're not going to buy your product, or they're going to talk to their friends and be like, it's a horrible product, or I just don't like that company. And this relationship is what makes you gain sales. So you need to maintain a customer relationship by doing the following. You need to identify what you need to do with them. You make a plan. And then you consolidate customer data, which means you talk to them. You understand what they want. After understanding what they want, you kind of divide them into categories. Okay, so a lot of people want this and a lot of people want that. So you start personalizing customer interaction. Since this group want this and this group wants that, we'll give them each different things. After doing that, you reevaluate and you recalibrate your customer relationship model strategy, which is like, okay, so did they enjoy it or are they still not satisfied? They're not satisfied, so let's repeat. So actually, for those of you who are very technical, this does work for actual relationships. I can say that out of experience. But this is what we look at it in terms of entrepreneurship and business strategy. It's a customer relationship model.
Sir, I just want to ask not about customer relationship, but I just want to ask about the channel, sir, like the company channel. So I don't understand what do they mean. Like you said Apple. So what if a supermarket is a channel? Can a supermarket be a channel for our
Yes,
product?
supermarket is a channel. So let's say it's basically how you're going to get your product to your people. So it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing something that's digital, your channels will mainly be digital channels. If you're doing something that's tangible, you're going to make hard real life channels. So if I'm doing if I'm selling phones, then my channels are stores and online stores. Get me?
Yes, I understand.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Where does the customer relationship model can start? Moral education.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Where does the CRM start?
It starts at the top again, at align systems with goals and strategy.
Okay.
All right. So the three things we just discussed, which are channels, customer segments, and customer relationships, they go under something we call desirability, which is how desirable is your product in the market? Do people want it in the first place? And that's the joy of the BMC. It shows you where the problem is. If your problem is in if your problem is in selling, then you can see, is your problem because of price or is it because of desirability? If there's no desirability, then it's probably need to change either your channels, customer segment, or customer relationships. But how? How are you going to do all of this? You have this amazing product and people want it, but how are you going to make it? And that's what we call key activities. Key activities is basically everything you do in your company. So I'm gonna go back to the apple farm. Key activities on an apple farm would be harvesting the apples, watering the trees, putting fertilizer, and yeah, those are your key activities. So key activities are what do you do to make your product. After that, oh, and it goes under problem solving, networking, and production. These three factors always go into every company. You have production, you have to network because you need to make relationships with other companies, and you need to solve problems. You're going to get problems out of production, you need to solve them, and you're going to get problems, and after you solve problems, you need to network. So it's these three factors that you need to always be working with. Sounds good, but with what? Now I want an apple farm. I have an apple farm. How am I going to do all of these things? Do we have anything? No. And that's what we call key resources. Key resources are what you're going to use to manage a company. And they're divided into four main resources. Physical resources, if we go back to our example of the apple farm, physical resources are actual things that you can see. So they would go under the land itself, the seeds, the water, the fertilizer. These are physical resources. If you're doing an application, your application is the physical resource. After that, you go into human resources. Am I going to do this all by myself? No, I have employees. Employees are my human resources. And they're doing the activities themselves. After that, you have intellectual resources. And intellectual resources are the ideas. There's not many intellectual resources for apples, but it's basically the one person that knows how much to water the apple trees and how much fertilizer to add for the trees. That's intellectual. And finally, it's financial resources. Where am I going to get the money for all of this? You need financial resources. Nothing's free.
Capital.
Capital, exactly. So capital is financial resources. So
Intellectual resources.
All of them. Oh?
Like intellectual resources means like a supervisor in a supermarket can be an intellectual resource.
Yes. So, are you going to do all of this alone? That's kind of dumb, because at the end of the day, you can't do all of the activities alone, which is why you have key partners. Now, the key partners are other companies or individuals that help support some of your activities. If we go back to our apple farm, does it make sense if I have only 5 apple trees to buy a whole truck just to deliver fruits? Because I'm going to use it once a year. That doesn't make sense. So what you're going to do is that you're going to get a key partner, which is going to be a truck company. And you're going to tell them, every March and every September, you're going to pass by my farm and you're going to take my apples from the farm and take them to the store. That's a key partner. So you need to identify things that you can't do, and you need to find companies that can do them for you. And that's what we call outsourcing. All of this goes under feasibility. You might want a product, but you're not sure if you can make it properly. And feasibility is a very big key aspect. Now, I'm going to give you guys a nice example. Are you guys confused, by the way? I want to know if you have any questions. Let's take a few questions before we continue. Let me check the chat. I don't know, not in a relationship.
So the feasibility and desirability makes feasibility plus desirability is equal to like business model canvas, right? Like some kind
Yes.
of.
It's 2 sections of the business model canvas. So basically, desirability is how do people want your product, and feasibility is can you make your product. I'll give you an example of someone that didn't assess their feasibility before starting off. So I don't know if you guys remember, but back in 2010, there was this campaign on Facebook where they had a phone projected onto your hand. It was a hologram. So it was like a light, it was a wristband, it would project the phone onto your wrist and you would just type. And they made this campaign on Facebook and they were like, if you want this, donate to our company and we will make sure this happens. And they got so many donations. I think they collected about $5 million because people wanted this so much. Desirability was through the roof. It was such an innovation. So they had all the money they needed to start. And once they got to it, they were like, oh my God, guys, we can't make this. It's not possible. It's not feasible. What are your key activities? Making a hologram, there's no key activities for a hologram. So it wasn't a feasible idea. They couldn't build it. And this concept of feasibility led to the fact that $5 million were just thrown in the trash. They couldn't do anything with it and they failed. So it's not just enough to have desirability. You need to have feasibility to make sure that a company can happen, that you can do what you're promising to do. Clear enough?
Yes.
Is anyone still confused on anything? All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's get to the final, most important part of the whole thing. Where is the money? Now, finances are divided into 2 main things, and I won't get too deep into them. The first thing is cost, which is the value of money that is used to produce something or deliver a service. And the revenue is the income the business receives from all of its activities. So a cost is how much did it cost you to make it, and revenue is how much did you make from selling it. You subtract the revenue from the cost and you get your profit. It's as simple as that. And the finances go into viability. Now you can see that desirability kind of goes over viability and feasibility goes over cost. So desirability, which is how much people want this product, determines how much money you're going to make. And the feasibility, which is how you're going to make this product, determines how much you're going to need to put into this product to make it. And if revenue is less than cost, then you have a problem. Then you need to fix with the desirability. Can you guys, if you have noise around, you can mute yourself, please? Thank you. Now, what I want you guys to get out of this is that the BMC isn't just something like that. It's a system. It's an organized system that goes in kind of a loop format, where you have your value proposition, delivering your product to your customer segment, your customer relationship is maintaining happiness. Your key activities are building all of that. And your key activities define how much money you're going to spend, and your viability, which is how much people are going to spend on your product, determines how much money you're going to make. And it's just a system. And it's beautiful, in my opinion. But we can get more in depth with something else now.
Excuse me, sir. I have to ask one question, sir.
Please.
Like, so you told there will be channels, and we sell our products through these channels. So, sir, the our like in our product, there will be a price for it. So that price, sir, do we discuss it or the channel discuss it? The prices of our, the value of our, the value of our product is discussed by us or our channel.
The
Price.
value of your product would be through the channel. What you're delivering for itself. What are you doing for people?
No, I'm just not asking the value, but the price. The price is discussed by ourselves or our channel discuss it.
Your channel will discuss it. Because you might not have a high price, but the cost, there will be a cost. And at the end of the day, there's always a revenue, even if it's just through a YouTube channel. All right, if no one else has any questions, I'm gonna keep going. I want to ask you guys a few questions. What's this?
A guy in an elevator looking at
Yeah.
a guy.
Or a person with a sad emotion.
All right. So he's just in an elevator and they're not talking to each other. What about this?
Guy who's smiling at a guy who looks really creepy.
One person who's eager to wait and another who's very scared or nervous.
All right. What about this?
A bunch of short people and a tall person.
Many people who are patient and one person who is eager to get out.
All right.
Probably antisocial.
What about
He doesn't like to be in the
Some
middle.
people
Oh God.
And
All right.
one person who's sad and another who's
How about this?
looks like a
people who are
family.
just bored.
One is confident in others.
Looks like a family.
What about this?
One person is looking at something and the other one just looks like he's staring
It
at
looks
space.
like
It's about ignoring.
It looks like the person on the left is trying to avoid eye contact.
All right. So the thing all of these pictures have in common is that they're missed opportunities. Why are they missed opportunities? This is something that we call an elevator pitch, which is basically if you get an opportunity to talk to someone, you need to talk. You need to pitch your idea to them, because actually you have about 2.7 seconds to grab someone's attention. All right? And you have 60 seconds to gain their interest. Sorry guys, I'm having a connection issue. One second.
Waldo.
Huh?
I found Waldo.
Waldo.
It's so easy. It's right.
Where I found it.
He's right there.
Waldo.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's just the first one to post it on social media wins this point.
I posted it on Discord.
I saw Waldo.
Can I post it on some other social media except for Instagram?
Yeah, as long as you can tag us.
All right, I'm gonna keep going. So we have
What
6
do
seconds to
WhatsApp?
gain their
WhatsApp.
and after that, you only
Only
have
put it
90.
on social
I
media.
send your YouTube channel in the comments. Disturb.
All right, and you have 95 seconds to get a meeting. Now, if you meet an investor in an elevator, you need to do everything you
Can I
can
use
to
Facebook?
get
Can I use Facebook?
use Facebook. Can you guys do that in chat? Let's not cut off so we can finish this quickly. So you have 95 seconds to get a meeting. So let's say you meet Bill Gates in an elevator. You only have 2.7 seconds to make sure that he's interested in what you're saying, or else you're lost. You have 60 seconds to make sure that he's still interested, and you have 95 seconds to get him so interested that he wants to talk to you about investment. So it's all of that. For the purposes of this competition, you have 180 seconds to make it through to the next stage.
1 minute.
And that's how long your video is supposed to be. Now, in your video, you need to have, first of all, you need to have a hook. You need to say something interesting to grab our attention, which is the 2.7 seconds. So it can't be more than a sentence. After that, you need to say the problem statement. And I suggest you say this in a story fashion, where you need to identify what the problem you're solving is. And then you need to talk about your solution. After talking about your solution, talk about the market and feasibility. So it goes back to BMC kind of, where you're like, we're selling this to blah, blah, and blah, and we can make this by using blah, blah, and blah. That's why we can make it. After that, talk about your team. And finally, we want to see the demo of your prototype.
Hello.
So, sorry? All right. So,
like, can I ask you a question? What if it is a prototype? Like, what if it is not a prototype, or like it is just a idea?
Abdullah, I'll take this one. So basically, 5% of your score depends on, 15% of your score depends on what prototype or representation of your idea you're submitting, right? So even if you don't want to make like a working functional prototype, but you want to make like a sort of diagram or an app wireframe, anything that represents your idea, it would count as a prototype because you have short time, less amount of time. I'm not sure if I was audible.
You were.
Right. All right. So basically, in all of this, that's how you tell it. And you need to kind of tell it in a story fashion. So a story fashion is the only way to kind of get me interested. You need to make the judges relate to your story. You need to make them feel like, oh, I suffer from this problem as well. What are you going to solve it through? Oh, we're going to do blah, blah, and blah. And this is how we're going to do it. This is why we should do it, because this is our team. And we've already done something similar. And then you show us. That's how you kind of gain interest. So my only suggestion for you in this is to tell a story. Make sure people are interested in your story. Anyways, that is my time for today. I would like to very much thank, on behalf of Entrepreneur Society, we would like to thank Tangled for making this event, for being our partners throughout this event. We hope that our partnership can last as long as possible. I'd like to thank all of you for the time, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. We hope that we can all continue our entrepreneurial journeys together, but before we set off, I want to ask if you have any questions, concerns, or follow-ups. None?
Oh, Abdullah, maybe you can talk to them about Young in this time, because everyone might not be there for the closing ceremony. I think we'll have bigger numbers here, so maybe just briefly tell them about it.
Okay, so basically, for those of you who are in high school, or that's starting year 9 or grade 8, for those of you who are in high school and you're a bit more interested in entrepreneurship, Entrepreneur Society is going to have a competition by the end of October, which is going to be a 5-day workshops on entrepreneurship, teaching you everything that I talked about today more in depth. And after that, we're going to have you kind of create your own businesses and compete for a grand prize. Yes, of course, from year 9 up until university. So you can participate in this competition. It's an international competition. We're going to teach you everything. It's not just going to be me, it's the whole academic team. We're going to teach you everything about business. So all of the questions you kind of asked me today, they're going to talk to you more in depth about. For registration, I'll send you guys our social media page, or you can follow us on Instagram at Entrepreneur Society. So I'll send you a link to our to our Instagram page, and you guys can follow us there. So here it is. You guys can follow us there and stay tuned for the post, because we're going to be posting a registration link very soon. So it's going to be hopefully a very interactive thing. It's going to teach you guys everything you need to know about entrepreneurship, and it's going to teach you guys how you're going to move forward. Tomorrow as well, if you have any more questions about this, tomorrow we will have our academic team here. They will be acting as mentors, so they'll be supporting the finalists for all of that. So yeah, I'll send you the link right here. You can go follow us on Instagram, turn on your notifications so you know when the competition starts.
Is there a website for this?
Website's actually launching tomorrow, so very soon there will be a website for everything. And
for their challenge, I think Tangle is going to be your outreach partners, right? So
yes, of course, Tangle are going to be our partners, and we're hoping that our friendship and partnership with Tangle can expand much
beyond these competitions. Definitely. So we'll be all of the participants in this email. You'll receive an email. I'm sorry, in this event, you'll receive an email about the events organized by Entrepreneur Society as well. So look out for that. And yeah, we're trying to make these competitions a monthly thing. So next month, instead of us organizing it, it's going to be Entrepreneur Society, and then there'll be another Tanglethon in December then. But right now we will be taking a lunch break, so until 3 p.m. we are going to be we're going to be away. I'll leave the link on so you all can stay if you all want, and then we'll have someone talk to you all about app designing and app wireframing. All right.
No, so it's lunchtime.
Yes, it's lunchtime for now.
Sir, we have to submit the prototype with
Should we stay on the call?
It's up to you all. You all can join back again if you all want. It's going to be the same link.
You have to join at 3, right?
Yes, it's going to start at 3 in about 55 minutes.
Okay,
Welcome back, Binod.
So till what time will we have the break?
Until 3, 55 minutes. Adityan, are you in the session?
Sir?
I think Adityan left.
Sir, we have to submit the prototype with the video.
Tomorrow at 11. Yeah, we'll talk about that again after the designing and prototyping workshop.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, we have to submit the prototype with the video.
Tomorrow, 11 p.m. And once again, thank you so much, Abdullah, for doing this.
11 p.m. or 11 a.m.?
11 a.m. I'm so sorry I'm saying p.m. It's 11 a.m. It's 11 a.m. everyone. It's 11 in the morning.
Lot of confusion, Rishabh.
It's 11 a.m. just to clarify. I will just follow the emails. That's the best thing for you all to do. 11 a.m. I am getting confused between p.m. and a.m. at this point. Great. Not a good thing. But yes, it's 11 a.m. And just follow the emails or look at the info doc. Nothing is changing from those.
Sir, what about
Waldo? I think there was someone who tagged us first before I got messages on our Discord on Instagram. So I think I'm just gonna see who that was.
On Discord, the first person was Rishit Punja, 1356.
No.
And then me.
No, on Discord I'm talking about my private messages. So I got messages before you all as well. Nope. And this was. Did she post it? Oh, I think if Priyanka Nair would have posted it, she would have won, but she sent it to us. And in that case, I think Arham wins because he posted it on a story before I got messages on Discord. So congratulations, Arham.
Have people found the Waldo?
Yeah.
Is it on Discord?
Yeah.
Icon, global chat?
Wait, what about Instagram?
On Instagram, Arham won. Right. We'll share the story soon. So just look out for that. Once again, Abdullah, thank you for joining us and for conducting the lovely session. I'm sure students loved it and I personally enjoyed it as well. So thank you
Hopefully
for
we'll
that.
see you all soon in the next edition of Tangled Pond series.
Yeah, for sure.
Have a great day, everyone.
Wait, I have a question.
Go for it.
I tag you. Tangle.ae, right?
Yes.
So I did actually tag you.
Yes, me and my teammate tagged you.
All right, guys. I am in
Sir,
the.
me and my teammate also tagged you.
Hello, Rishabh.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about our shout out on Instagram?
For winning the
Riddle.
winner, the riddle. Yes. So
Yeah.
just I think are you on a Discord server?
Yeah.
Can you just do me a favor and message Aditya on that? Because he handles the search,
Sure.
right?
Yeah,
Aditya.
sure.
Yeah, so he'll make sure that you get your shout out.
Okay.
Yani, if you tagged us, then we did not get a notification. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, all right.
Let
So
me just ensure that I tagged you.
yeah,
Yeah.
just do that. Anyway, so if you nothing, just send Aditya a message. He'll give you your shout out. All right. So guys,
Sure. Thanks.
let's start again at 3. That's going to be a very interesting workshop conducted by an 18-year-old who's going to teach you all app prototyping. So should help you all with your solutions as well. Okay. So see you all in about 15 minutes. Thank you.
Same link, we should, the same link?
Yeah, I'm not ending this session. You all can stay here. Just
Yeah,
give it
okay.
to everyone.
Thank you.